Well, welcome to another Chef Darrell demonstration. Today we will be making a stir fry for you using some nice seasonal vegetables, but we can use whatever vegetables are your favorite. The trick with doing a stir fry is just making sure that the vegetables are cut in a way that they can cook very quickly. All right, so a stir fry traditionally is high heat, a little oil in the pan, obviously a healthy oil, olive oil, coconut oil, or something like that. We want to stay away from the vegetable oils and the canola oils. But we're going to splash a little oil in the pan. We're going to get this cranked up, and then we're going to just start adding stuff to the pan very quickly. Once we start, it's not one of the dishes where you can kind of stop in between. So it's very important that we have everything set and ready to go. Right now, I see that we're missing the sauce. So we have to find our stir fry sauce. We have our chicken. We have our tofu. How many people have tried tofu? What'd you think about it? It pretty much tastes like whatever you're flavoring it with, right? It's very flavorless on its own. But we have a nice soy sauce based sauce. It has a little ginger, a little garlic in it, and then just a little bit of sugar and honey to give it a little sweetness. So our olive oil is here. Mike, I need you for a second, boss. I believe the stir fry sauce is on the cart in the closet. If you don't mind just grabbing it. The stir fry sauce. In a plastic deli container. Is it on the cart? Perfect. Thank you. Right there is fine. Thank you very much, Mike. So this is our stir fry sauce. So I'm gonna start by just putting our pan on medium high. We don't want it all the way hot yet because we're gonna fabricate some of our vegetables first. So I'm a little too loud, guys. So we're gonna start with the bok choy. You guys have had bok choy? So it's just a Asian cabbage. It's very light, has great flavor. As you can see, the top is very spinach-like, but the bottom is more like the cabbage that you would traditionally see in a grocery store. So what we want to do is just cut the base of that off. And what I did, because I wanted it to have a great presentation, was I just julienne these into strips the long way, just like that. And this is what we have. All right, very simple, very easy. Then this magical vegetable that which everybody is familiar with, broccoli, right? So the special thing about the broccoli, if you add it into your stir fries, it needs to be blanched first. From a raw state, it will not cook in your stir fry. It will be pretty much raw, right? So what I have here is blanched broccoli, but what I have here is raw. All right, so for the sake of magic of television, we have this already blanched, but I just want to show you how we would fabricate the broccoli. So you just want to cut the florets off of it. We don't want to use the stalk of it because it's very fibrous and it'll take forever to cook. So we don't want that. So that can just come right off right in the beginning. And then, like I said, we're just going to cut florets into this. And then we have our broccoli, okay? So we've already fabricated the broccoli and the bok choy. Any questions so far, sir?
How long's it blanch? 3 minutes?
How long is a blanch? Well, it would depend on the vegetable itself. Broccoli is one of those things that are very fibrous, so I would say 2 to 3 minutes. Already boiling though, a rolling boil. So that'll be in and out of the pan. Once it comes out of the pot, you want to cool it in cold water. That way it stops the cooking process and it won't continue to cook. And then when it adds to your stir fry, it won't overcook. So another very important thing to highlight with stir fries are the vegetables are supposed to be crunchy still a little bit. All right, so you want a little crunch to it. If you like them softer, then you're going to cook it for a little bit longer because I know that that's something that Some people they prefer it a little more softer, especially things like broccoli and things like that. Our peppers, red or green. For the sake of I didn't want to insult your intelligence, I bought one green one because I thought you knew what a red one would look like. Okay, so I have one green pepper. We're just gonna cut the sides off of it, cut the bottom. Do I look like I'm sweating a lot? Because I feel like okay, all right, just making sure. It's very hot up here. It's okay. I don't mind if you don't mind. This is what it's really like in the kitchen. Good. That's all that matters. So once I cut the sides off, we're just going to julienne these into strips, making sure we do not cut our fingers off because that's very important, right? And that's all we're doing, and that's that. Then we have our yellow squash. It can also be zucchini. Um, or any other squash. But if you're going to use one of the fall squash, it has to be blanched first. Or you might want to roast it a little bit. Either or, it needs to be cooking. That's going to be a little bit longer than the 3 minutes. Because it's such a dense and hard vegetable, you're going to want that to go for quite some time. Is that for me?
It's a Griffin Health sweat towel.
I need this. This is wonderful. This is, you saved my life.
Mike to the rescue.
I appreciate you, Mike. Thank you. See, the thing about it is, that'd be perfect. The thing about it is I don't have any hair. So what would normally catch it, I don't have it. So it's just going to stop at the beard. All right, so we're going to cut this in half. And then just because I want to be fancy, I'm just going to cut it on the bias. That means like a little slant. All right, and then we have that. Now, like I said, I'm showing you this part because if I were to just start the stir fry, it would be quick and easy. It'll take you longer to get here than the actual demonstration. And that's no fun, right? Who wants to sit in the car? And then we have our onion, which we'll just cut in half. And then once we cut that in half, we cut off the top and the root. And we just peel it. Once we peel it, we get our julienne just by doing this. Now for an advanced class, I would show you how to make tofu, but I don't know how. So typically we just buy it, right? So this is our tofu here. I chose chicken breasts, but you can use chicken thighs if you would like. Obviously, that's going to add more fat. It's actually going to add more flavor as well, but we went with the breast because we want to be more lean. So now that we have a very piping hot pan, the only thing left to do now would be to cook everything. All right, so it's important though to kind of pick and choose which veggies you put in first. Yes, ma'am.
How do you know which tofu to get?
Well, I would say, so how do we know what tofu to get? You would know what kind of tofu to get because what we want is something not flavored. So you will want either a firm or a semi-firm tofu, not something too soft that'll get mushy. This, I wish I could pass it around so you can feel it, but it's very firm to the touch. Once we start to stir fry it, it's not gonna just fall apart, but I'm also gonna add the tofu last because it is pretty temperamental. So if we were to start to stir it around with the vegetables, it would start to break. All right, so that's gonna go in last once we have everything pretty much in here and situated. Yes, yes, you don't have to. I did that for the sake of this demonstration, but if you wanted to, you can use raw chicken. Then what would happen is before we added our vegetables, the chicken would go in first, and then I will cook partially, like all the way through, just about all the way through. Right before it was done, I will start to add my vegetables, so then everything can be perfect. You have a tender chicken breast, crunchy vegetables to go over the brown rice that I prepared for you already. All right, so I did kill the heat. It was smoking a little bit too much, and I didn't want to embarrass myself up here and look like I didn't know what I was doing. So we're going to start with some onion, some pepper, Then we're gonna go bok choy, broccoli, and now we're at a full-blown cook. So this is up all the way. You can hear the sizzle, which is a very surefire sign that your pan is hot. If you don't hear a sizzle, then you're not ready to go. You guys know some of the tricks of knowing if the pan is hot, besides it smoking. If the oil starts to wave a little bit, all right, you can tell that way. And if you wanted to, you could take something like a pepper and you would just dip it in. If it started to sizzle, then you would know it was ready to go. All right, so we got that going. Veggies are going. Everything is in. Squash we're going to put last because it has a very high moisture content in it and it's going to cook extremely fast. If you ever gone to hibachi, for example, and they start to add all the vegetables in, they typically add the zucchini or the squash toward the end because they don't want it to overcook. Like I said, one of the main things about a stir fry is making sure that the vegetables don't lose their integrity. Everything stays pretty crisp, pretty crunchy, and then that the minerals don't cook all out of all the vegetables, okay? So we're almost there. The bok choy leaves are starting to wilt. I'm gonna add a little squash in here. And we're gonna do this again. I'm gonna do one with tofu and then one with chicken, okay? Now, if you see that the oil is kind of gone from your stir fry, there's nothing wrong with adding a little bit more. And I'm gonna do that now. I would say probably another teaspoon. And what do you guys think we should do first, chicken or tofu? Or does it not matter, right? We're gonna have it anyway, right? So we'll go in with the tofu. All of it, because why be shy? And then we're gonna go right behind that with our stir fry. And this is, like I said before, simple. Soy sauce, a little rice wine vinegar, little honey, little brown sugar, ginger, and garlic. And we're stir frying. Some recipes will call for some cornstarch in the stir fry. That gives it a more saucy, thicker consistency. I didn't do that for this one specifically because I figured that it would be so hot that it would just kind of thicken up on its own, which it will do. All right, so that's kind of it for this one. We'll sit this one to the side, and then obviously when we get done with the chicken, we'll taste all of it, okay? That took no time at all, right? So something that we can have the veggies in the fridge the day before, already fabricated and ready to go. So whenever it was time for lunch or it was time for dinner, we can just pull out our pan, add our oil, and we're gonna give this a minute because it's a cold pan. What I will do with this one though is the chicken will go in first because I want to kind of keep the integrity of how the recipe would be if you were doing it at home with raw chicken. So the chicken's gonna go in first, and then we're gonna do the exact same procedure with all of the vegetables, making sure that the squash goes in last because we don't want it to overcook, okay? So, like I was telling you before, you hear that? No, not yet? Not yet? We can give it a second. How about that? Now with the exhaust? It's ready to go. You hear it now? It needed a couple of friends to join the party. Parties don't get loud when it's just one person at the party, you know? Go right in. After that, we go bok choy. We go onions and peppers. We go broccoli. And while it's frying, we want to add the stir. Hi, Maggie. Very much so. Do you smell it? Can you smell the yes. Well, that's because olive oil has a lower smoking point. What most people will use for a stir fry is peanut oil, but because of the allergens, I chose to do olive oil, and it was another reason why I cut the heat down whenever it started to smoke. Because when we started the cooking process, I didn't want it to start to burn. All right, so if you do use olive oil, you just have to be mindful that if the oil is going by itself for too long, it can start to get smoky and it will kind of get too hot and it will burn everything. But we didn't do that here. What we did was we waited for it to get just about there. Once I heard it start to sizzle, I added everything in. Olive oil is not the type of oil you want to let smoke. So if you see a smoking pan with olive oil, it's way too hot. So what you would do is you would cut it off, let it sit for a bit, and then come back to it. All right. Peanut oil has a very high smoking point, so you can get it really, really hot, and that's why in a lot of Asian restaurants, that's what they fry with. All right. So if you go to an Asian restaurant and you're going to get something fried and you have a peanut allergy, I would ask, what type of oil is this fried in? Right? Because the tempura and things like that, they get really crispy. It's really light and crispy. That's nine times out of 10 is peanut oil. Okay. Oh, absolutely. And for those of you that did not hear, I'm here today with my director. His name is Daryl as well. So we're a tandem, Daryl and Daryl show. Yes, it's the Daryl and Daryl show. All right, and this is done. It was really that simple. Any questions about that at all? We used olive oil. We used olive oil. Um, you could use a blended oil as well, something like olive oil with a splash of sesame oil for that flavor, right? But I wouldn't go straight sesame oil because it's very strong and it'll overpower the dish overall. Yes. What about avocado oil? Avocado oil can be used. It's a more heart healthy oil, so you can use that. I will say that I'm not familiar with the smoking point of avocado oil because it's not something I use very often, but it could be used. So I would get in the kitchen and I would kind of give it a test run and see, and use the same principles as before. If it starts to smoke a little bit, I would cut it down and let it sit for a little bit. None of the oils, not even peanut oil, you want to see smoking, right? If you see any of it smoking, that means it's too hot. And what would happen is by the time you got to the zucchini or the summer squash, your onions will be caramelizing and they'll be overcooked. And we don't want that. So avocado oil could be used, coconut oil, olive oil, different blends of olive oil. Um, there's so many different types of oils out there now. I've been seeing palm oil, which is more of a red tint. It's African oil. I'm starting to see that in restaurants now. I think it's a new trend. It's very rich, um, um, but it's also something that can't be eaten often because of how rich the oil is. It's not one of the. It's probably right up there with canola and vegetable, but it's just something that I'm starting to see more often. So everyone's ready to try. All right, let's do it. Maggie, when I do these, I'm gonna put more because we can't do it all at once.
Did you put meat in that one?
There's chicken in the last one I did, and there's tofu in the first one I did.
Oh, you're so good. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm the one that wanted the tofu, okay?
It was you. It was you.
Harry and I argued about that, okay?
Oh, she told me to make sure that I put tofu in there, or else I would have to answer to you, and I didn't want those problems.
Nobody wants that stuff. Especially on a day like today.
Especially on a day like today. No, I think this is actually be good with just the spoons. I'm gonna get a couple of different ones here. We have the rice right here.
Yes, spoon.
Yep.
Let me know what you need.
If you want to follow me with either, let's go tofu first, and once, like I told them, once this is done, I'll fire up another one. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I said. I'll fire another one if you don't mind. Here, that's fine. We got another pan of that if we need it. Yes, sir. Say that one more time.
High temp olive oil.
What about it? Does it exist? You bought some high temp olive oil. I've never heard of that. High temp olive oil. Where? Trader Joe's, somewhere like that?
This is out towards Massanutten area.
Oh, okay, towards the Rhode Island area.
Yeah, olive oil.
High temp olive oil. Yeah, a higher smoking point. Oh. That's not something I see. Was it a specialty grocery store?
Now he does oils and vinegar.
Oh, so he just does oils and vinegar. Oh, so that would be something.
But I didn't ask him how much higher, 25% higher.
Oh, I got you. I would just go with the tofu and then just a little.
One for me so I can
Oh, sure, absolutely. No, you can ask.
For those of you in the audience, how many hands for the tofu style? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Thank you.
Yes.
I know who she is.
And I will give them like one piece of each vegetable. You know, it doesn't have to be every vegetable. They know what the broccoli tastes like, you know. And then we'll go right behind it with this.
Do you prefer a cast iron pan?
Do I prefer a cast iron pan? Actually, I do, yes. But for this, I would say a wok. A wok is ideal because of the slant sides. When you're stirring, it gets it really mixed in there really well. It's a little bit more thin than a cast iron pan as well, so that means it gets hot, very hot, quicker. Even up the sides, it gets nice and hot.
Tofu pan.
Yeah, yeah.
Who else had a tofu pan?
There was 5 total.
No, there's two more. Two more. Everybody's had
Oh, 2 more tofu. Okay.
tofu.
That's great.
So then the next one I do, Mike, I'll just bulk up on the chicken, okay?
I told people would like tofu. Right, it really
I'll-
doesn't have a taste without adding something to it.
So it sounds like people want it out of default because they never had it before, Maggie.
I know my crowd.
Yeah, you do.
You guys had coffee today, water. Spoiling us what we got.
That's what we want. We want you to come back. sure. Yes, sir.
Right to somewhere else with an extra
I do. Are there any more questions about the demonstration? Because if not, we're going to wrap up. I don't know if you all knew, but we were live streaming. Well, this one, so the question was about how did I flavor the brown rice? So with the brown rice, it was very basic. So it was just water. I salted it a little bit because what I want to happen is the stir fry to be the star of the show. I don't want you to eat the stir fry and go, wow, this is really good rice. You know what I mean? So I want you to have the stir fry, enjoy it, enjoy the health benefits of it. And then the brown rice is just a filler for you, so to speak. Nice protein as well. So thank everybody for coming out. I do appreciate it. We're going to make sure that everybody gets a sample. Yes, ma'am. Say that? No, I wasn't kidding. We were streaming live. Yes, we were. You all look lovely, by the way, and handsome as well. All right, so your questions were heard. Griffin's Facebook page. So where were we watching the streaming at? They were watching the streaming on Griffin Health's Facebook page. Thank you very much. My name is Chef Darryl Murphy, and it's been a pleasure.